Welcome to episode 215 of the Daniel Yoris podcast with today's guest, Alexa Berg. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We are joined here today by Alexa Berg. Alexa, thank you very much for joining me today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All the way from Las Vegas. Las Vegas is not the type of place that typically people think about going to be healthy. But anyways, there's nothing that you can't find in Vegas.
There's a lot of fitness people here. Like if you follow bodybuilding at all, the Super Bowl for us is called the Olympia, and it's held in Las Vegas every year. And there's also like a lot of national level shows, so like NPC shows. There's a few IFBB shows. So if you're actively competing or you're a serious bodybuilder, you're going to be going to some of the best gyms. Like people who want to come here and open up a gym. It's not as expensive as California, but it's close and it's warm. So it's kind of like California's little brother that's hotter.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I guess if you get into any industry, like you will go to Vegas at some point just for conventions or conferences. At some point, it's like the easiest, greatest, meeting place of people for any type of thing. But for people who are not in the fitness industry, typically don't associate Vegas with health. But anyways, here we go. Can you give us a quick introduction of who you are and what it is they do?
Yeah, I'm Alexa, as you mentioned. I went to Purdue University for college and studied sociology and communications. And while I was there, I got my IFBB Pro card in bikini. So I was 21 when I started competing, and I was a college student. So I had no idea what I was doing. And I actually got my pro card in 2 shows. So I did a regional show, got first runner-up overall, went to nationals like a month later, and then got first runner-up overall again and turned pro, and then just started competing as a pro. And I did not take any time off. And then I got a bunch of health issues, and that includes Hashimoto's, tanked hormones, so no progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, all just in the dumpster. And then gut issues out the wazoo, missing period years. And then mental health issues. Like I was having a full-blown mental health episode. That was what got me into the hospital. And then they ran all my blood work, and they were like, "Wow, you're not doing so hot." And I was like, "Oh, well, everyone just kept giving me pats on the back because of how I looked, and I'm a pro now. Doesn't that mean something?" And they were like, "No, you're ill." You are ill. And that was really hard for me to take as a 21-year-old. That was just like figuring out my whole identity was around bodybuilding very quickly. And then realizing that it was also something that kind of broke me. So I finished up my degree, went back home to Seattle, and started working in the beauty industry and social media marketing. So totally separate from fitness. But bodybuilding at the same time, like I never gave up on it. It filled me back from something that like kind of hurt me in the beginning, but I wasn't doing the diets to as an extreme. I was thinking about like, what nutrients do I need to bring in that I've been lacking that led to these gut issues, thyroid issues, hormone issues? What nutrients do I need to bring back in my life? So nutrition built me back stronger, and bodybuilding did too. I'm an absolute unit, and I feel absolutely okay saying that. I am natural. I've never taken a steroid in my life, and I have worked really hard to build muscle, and I like to be strong. I feel like bodybuilders get this perception that they're just kind of gym muscle, but they're not actually strong. So as a natural bodybuilder, I felt like that I had a chip on my shoulder. Like I was always going to be at a deficit to everybody else who looked amazing, but I was like, I'm going to work harder. And I've been a soccer player my whole life, and my coach always said, work smarter, not harder, but also you kind of want to do both. But hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So I was like always really wanting to just work hard. And so the last 8 years, I haven't given up on bodybuilding, even though I haven't been competing. And so now I just coach other people on how to get results in a lifestyle, practical application, like still bodybuilding, but you don't necessarily have to go to stage. But what are the principles that got such great results, and how does that translate into just like a flexible everyday diet? And then, I think it's given me a lot of hope in my body. I've never given up in my body. And I think that's a result of good nutrition, understanding it, and knowing how to train and progressive overload. And so like after 8 years of doing the same kind of training, same kind of eating, I put on muscle. And it took me a while to be like, oh, you did that. It was like, because the body dysmorphia will get you. But I think I put on like 20 pounds. of muscle, and I'm like really proud of that. So I think other people should do it too, and like bust some gender norms along the way. Like a lot of girls like don't know that they can be as strong as they are, and I think they sometimes just needed another girl that could do it or did it, and then encourages them. And that's the speakerhead, that's the medium that tells you you can do it too. Hey, your form looks pretty good, but you had like 5, 6 left in the tank before you actually failed. So you quit early. And like, if you have another girl telling you that who has some muscle, you're kind of wanting to listen. But if a guy's like, hey, don't
Yes.
give up, or your boyfriend's saying like, you stopped early, you're just like, hey, shut up. So I've really like tried to put myself in the driver's seat of inspiring other girls to like break some norms, get strong, put on muscle. This can be super easy. You don't have to get on a stage and put on a bikini and get tan to get the result. Like we can just make this lifestyle really digestible, no pun intended, without having all the health issues and the complications from going to the extremes. But at the same time, like bodybuilding is literally a sport built on extremes. So like you got to train hard, but you also got to rest really hard. Like I'm a big advocate for like days in the couch. Like just have a rest day. Like I don't want you to worry about cardio. I don't want you to worry about steps. I just want you to get your food in. And if you eat something that's a little bit more dopamine producing, that's good for, overall morale, because that's your rest day. You're giving your body like love on that day. But like you're still applying the same principles. So you're not just like being an idiot with it. So just general boundaries in everyday behavior and how to get results. I'll stop talking. Any questions?
All of that is amazing. Lots of stuff there to dig into. Can you start from the? So I just want to start from the beginning. And sorry for my word stumbling here. We just had a little tech issue glitch. Blah, blah, we're trying to pick it up back up. Here we go. How rare is it to become a pro at 21 in your second show? Just to paint that picture for people who like don't know what that's like.
Oh my God, it was unheard of. I had no idea what I did. I thought I just stumbled into it, and they were like, "You're good at this. Here's a pro card." And I feel like I had like a bunch of peers at my college who were also competing at the time. And when I rose from the regional level to the national level and like did well at my first show, they were all like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah," pats on the back. And then like you go and become a pro card holder way before they do, and they've been like doing this for like years on end. They weren't necessarily happy about it, like, and I was like, I didn't know that like this was so hard. I think some people are just genetically like ready. I didn't bodybuild for like very long. I did it for like a few months and then got a pro card in the sport. So that tells you that it wasn't like, years of doing this sport that got me there. It was
Right.
genetics and playing a whole bunch of sports that built me in the fashion that was getting awarded in the sport. So I was just smart. I picked the right sport for me. And then with like being a pro at that time, it's just like you got to take it to an extreme. Like now you're the professional at that, so you got to be better than everyone else, and you got to think about like what are people doing on their Sunday?
Right.
How hard did they work? You got to match that or be better if you want to place well. And I was very concerned with being the best. So I didn't listen to my body. I didn't listen to like, hey, you have a gut issue. You eat some tilapia and asparagus and you're bloating. Are you worried about that? I was like, I'm just worried that I can't see my six pack very well, but I don't really care what's happening to my body. But I was just
Yeah.
inconvenient.
It makes sense that the kind of like extreme behavior, extreme mindset came in after, because it was, quote unquote, easy for you to like become a pro. And then you're like, oh shit, now we got to keep doing this and we got to win at the pro level, right? Every level you go up, it gets harder and harder to win in bodybuilding and in literally every sport ever. And that's where kind of like, cause I would imagine, at 21, you couldn't have been training super intensely for that long of a time. Like you said, it's not like you weren't lifting weights since you were like 11, and even if you were, for a sport, for soccer, it's very different than like bodybuilding style. No steroids, so that's like a good thing, a healthy thing, right? And so you couldn't possibly, enough time didn't pass that you could have been doing crazy extreme things. But then 5, 6, 7 years into your pro career, like that's when it starts to really kick up, right?
Yeah, because I think you start losing faith in yourself. And like way back then, like I had all the faith in myself. I was like, oh my God, I barely tried and I'm doing so well. Like, oh my God, I'm the best. And then I ended up in the hospital and I was like, guess it's not for me, or my body was resisting in some way. So like, I don't know, like how far are you willing to go in this sport? Like, I'm not willing to take steroids. Also, I would be too big for my division and I have to go up. If I want to go up in a different division, I have to take steroids because like I've tried for 8 years to get as big and muscular in all of the places that I felt like I needed to bring up. And like, this is what we got. I'm pretty happy about that. If I were to take my carbs away, my muscle sponges, which is what they are, will shrivel up and get a little bit smaller, and I will lose some weight and I will look a lot smaller. And then I'd fit my division. So I've always had that like idea of in my head of like what the sculpture I was going for. So that's why I kind of like bodybuilding. I have a criteria, like I have a shape that I'm sculpting after, and there are things that I avoid in the gym and things that I go really hard in the gym to build the proportions that I want, because bodybuilding is an art. It's literally like 8 years I've been working on this sculpture, and I'm really proud of it. So and I'm really happy that I didn't take steroids to build it. But like, if you did, like, that's your prerogative, but you have to live with all the side effects for the rest of your life, and that's a huge risk. I already have health issues. I would be a terrible candidate. I don't want to do that. So I'm just trying to use food and like working with the right people to make the right choices so my body performs the best naturally. My idea of like getting awarded in a bodybuilding show now is getting like a good report card on my blood work. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel good, I look good, and my blood work says that I'm going to live forever. Awesome. Like right now, my blood work does not say that. But I look and feel okay. So I always have something to like strive after, but it's not necessarily a medal.
Right. Two things I want to zero in on there. Do you mean to tell me and everyone else listening that lifting weights won't make you a huge, bulky, gigantic monster of a human being? Is that what you're saying, Alexa?
Yeah, because I've tried.
And so have the rest of us. On a more serious note, if you can think back to when you were starting to have some of the health issues, do you recall things that were happening that you didn't necessarily register, that you just ignored? Was it the bloating, like you were mentioning? Like, what were some things that were happening that you're like, this is whatever, that a lot of people are probably experiencing right now and don't realize that it might be the beginnings or symptoms of like a greater issue that's only going to get worse if unaddressed?
I got you. Poopy problems. Everybody it all starts with bad gut issues. And that could be as simple as you don't poop, or your poop looks more like pellets, like rabbits, and it's harder to pass. If that's happening, the food is staying in your digestive tract too long. For some reason, you ate too much at one time, and then it kind of started to ferment, and it was too slow to like break down, so it just sat there. Like, you want your digestion to be a certain predictability, a certain consistency. If you look at the Bristol stool chart, and you should be able to eat food and not really feel anything. You should eat food and you're not like, oh, I'm like 1 inch and a half distended, and I also feel bubbles. I feel gas. I have acid reflux. My food is in my throat and I'm kind of like burping a little bit. None of that should be happening if your gut is working correctly. It's like just as similar as like I could relate it to having a period as being a woman. Like, if you have tons of symptoms, you're not as healthy as you could be. You should just be able to get your period and not feel anything. Like, and that's when you know that you're like nailing it in terms of like how much fat you're getting, how rested you are, how stressed you are, all these other things. So same goes for your gut, and like all disease begins in the gut. You can have mental health issues that are connected to your gut health. That's like part of the reason people could get depressed, is like they just have poor gut health. So if you can address the gut, you might be able to mitigate some of the other system failures. And that's my philosophy now, is like really just addressing the gut instead of trying to look at all of these things as like isolated issues. And I would say that all of the health issues that I got back in competing started with gut issues. And it was the eating super clean meals and then having a reaction to it. And it's like, why? Like, you can just randomly get food sensitivity to something that you've been eating cyclically. So that's the caveat of bodybuilding. Like, you can eat a really clean menu, but you eat that clean menu every day for 3 months, and then all of a sudden your body's like, I don't like egg whites, and I'm going to start showing you at a very low chronic inflammation level. So you're just going to get like a little bit bloated, a little bit watery. Like, you're going to like do this to your stomach, like a little jiggle, just to see if there's water or if it's tight. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm inflamed. And it was always right after I eat the eggs. So the good thing about a bodybuilder diet is like eating cyclically is you can control your variables. So like having a meal plan that's super diverse will be great. And you can repeat that every day. But if it's super limited and you're missing key ingredients or key families of food, you're going to be creating more of an environment for poor gut health. So that's what I would say to analyze first is like, are you having a reaction to foods? And it could be as simple as you eat Greek yogurt and you notice that you get a little bit phlegmy. That's how I know that I'm not breaking down that dairy as best I can. But that's also not a symptom that I necessarily hate. It doesn't make me stop doing it. But like I have 2 gut issues now, and I tested it for it in 2024, early 2024. I did a GI map. Finally, after 8 years of knowing I have gut issues, I found that I have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And then in terms of types of bacteria that are overgrown, I have H. pylori. H. pylori can cause ulcers in the upper digestive tract if you have a poor overgrowth of that. That happens to me. So basically, if I eat anything that my gut doesn't like, and mostly it's like gluten, processed foods, things that are too high in sugar, things that are bad for me, so it's kind of good to avoid, I get like blood blisters in my mouth. Like what you'd get on your heel if you were rubbing and you had a shoe that was incorrect, I'll get that on my tongue or something if I eat something. And so I've been trying to heal all of these gut issues for so long, but I've had this like H. pylori diagnosis or like the symptom of it since I was 24. So I'm 29. 5 years. 5 years I've had like a different symptom. So I eat super clean because I get symptoms, but they're super black and white, obvious symptoms to me. And I always venture to guess that a lot of people get symptoms, but they're not aware of them. And like if you deduce your diet to the certain variables that you eat every day, so the foods you eat every day, but if you're eating processed foods that have a label that has like 50 ingredients in it, it's hard to isolate which of those ingredients is throwing you off. But if everything is single ingredient foods, or like you can track what goes into your salad, we can say what time of day do you start to like have a poor digestion. And then if you're like, it's around the salad, okay, we got 9 ingredients in the salad and you know exactly what those are, we can now do some detective work to figure it out. So because I have all these terrible issues, it does make me a really good detective at figuring out what's potentially wrong.
Right. So step one is kind of, and I don't know if this is what you did in the beginning of all these issues or the beginning of healing from these issues, but then step one is kind of like keep a food log and like a digestion / how you feel log, and then try to match those things up and figure out like, okay, when I have X, I have Y reaction or symptom, and then try to eliminate that or figure out why that's happening. Is that what you did, or did it take you a long time to like come to that conclusion?
No, I feel like ever since I've been competing, I eat on a meal plan, but I determine what the meal plan is. So basically, I'll have a preconceived notion of just how much I'm eating. So you could basically do this with any client, any person. You can check in with yourself and just get a food scale and measure everything out how you would normally eyeball it and what you'd eat on a normal day, and then track it in MyFitnessPal. So I would do that if I've like didn't like the way that I looked, didn't like my body, didn't have a coach, and I was like, I want to change this. I would just log my food as self-aware as I can be, as honest as I can be, because I want to know exactly what my body is currently maintaining on and how much I'm able to eat without gaining weight, losing weight. So I want to know if I'm eating like more calories, track those calories, because that's a good thing. So if I track, I'm eating 2,600 calories roughly, and I have this much fat, this much carbs, this much protein, and in my mind, I'm like, I want to change how I look. I would just fix those ratios, and I would change up the ratios of the foods that I logged, and then I would just start doing that every day. So that's kind of how I became aware of the foods that I was eating, and was also able to accomplish my physique goals while I'm combating these health issues. And then based on the foods that I chose that comprised the macros, that would get me a different health outcome. So that's why I don't necessarily agree with if it fits your macros. I think to some extent, like that is true. Like it does need to fit your macros, but like you're gonna have more like bang for your buck if you did blueberries over the candy. But they're both carbohydrates, and you can eat the same number of calories from both, but you might get more blueberries. That's more valuable to me. Like I would rather have a big bowl of blueberries when I'm like, oh, I want something sweet, because I can eat it for a longer period of time and I'm gonna get fuller from it, and it's gonna make me want to stop. If I have the amount of candy that's 200 calories, the same amount as the blueberries, and I can't stop eating it. it's really hard for me to like have a good relationship with that thing. So same thing, the blueberries are going to help me live a long time and help me combat these health issues. And I think it's going to give me like the best chance I have of feeling better and looking better. So more value. So I'm a big believer in like value meals, but that doesn't necessarily translate to things that are cheap. Like
Hmm.
people think that value meals are just like the most affordable thing that you can buy, but like the chocolate might be super affordable versus the wild blueberries, but the wild blueberries just give me a higher satisfaction about what I'm eating.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And I personally think part of the biggest issue with this is like we only have this like dichotomous thinking that exists, and it's like it can be only calories or only food quality. And so like if you're in the food quality camp, then you don't believe in calories. And if you're in the if it fits your macro camp, then like you can eat anything as long as it fits your macros. And it's like, well, hold on, we can just do both. There's nothing wrong with this. And in fact, that is probably the best way to do it. Like you should eat healthy foods and in a sufficient amount that supports your current body composition goals, whether you're trying to maintain, lose, gain, whatever. And I don't know why that is so difficult to comprehend for for so many people. Like eat healthy foods and eat the proper amounts of them. But totally agreed. You're gonna get way fuller off that, and plus you can eat like this much blueberries and maybe like one little piece of candy, and it's the same amount of calories. One of them might taste a little bit better if you don't like fruit, which is kind of a weird thing if you ask me. But to each their own type thing. So
I
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, good. I was just going to say, I think you can have a relationship with both. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
am a big fan of candy because it doesn't give me a reaction because it doesn't have gluten. But it's also like eating trash. And then if I eat blueberries, it's like giving myself medicine. It's like completely different,
Yeah.
like mind games that I play with it. So if I'm thinking about what am I going to eat Monday through Friday, like Monday through Saturday, when I'm hanging out by myself and I got work the next day and it's just a regular day, I'm choosing the blueberries. But if I'm hanging out with 9 of my girlfriends and everyone's eating Taco Bell and drinking wine, and I'm not really married to a plan and I like the way that I look right now, maybe I bring a little bit of the stevia sweetened chocolate to enjoy so I feel like I have something to look forward to that I only eat on rare occasions and I can still enjoy candy. But I also know that I'm going to fill up on the foods going into that like hangout session, so I'm full and I'm not eating the candy as like a meal. I'm eating it for the flavor thrill, and I have that mindset frame going into it that it's like a one-time flavor thrill exciting thing. But that's what I do when I have social engagements, when everyone's kind of letting loose. Like that's me letting loose, so I can still do it too.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense for sure. Let's go back to a little bit of the timeline. So you started having these gut issues, and you kept competing. Like you did a few more shows while you were having the issues. It wasn't like, oh, I'm having issues, let me stop. You kept competing. What was like the line where it's like, okay, this has gone on too far now? Was it? I
No,
assume
I
it's
was
when
in
you
the
went to the hospital.
hospital.
Yeah.
Not by my own accord. I did not check myself in the hospital. I was having a mental health episode and they were like, "Oh, you're ill. You've had all these other things wrong with you." And we need and they weren't even concerned with fixing those. They were just concerned with fixing my mental health at that moment.
Hmm.
So I feel like I've really had to take charge on trying to fix all these other system failures. But the system is just going to be like, take this medication. You need this for the rest of your life. You should get on birth control. You should take this thyroid medication. You should stay off gluten. And we're not going to tell you anything about how to deal with your diet. Oh, you have gut issues? Go to a gut guy. We're not going to help you. We don't know anything. And then the gut guy is going to be like, oh, take these antibiotics, take this gut test. And everything is so expensive. Like, I'm just a girl. Like, I'm paying my bills. Like I'm trying to figure out what is the most like low cost way to go about managing all of this. And like instead of going to all these different people and being like, I'm broken, I was like, what can I do right now? It was the food. It was going to the gym. It was relaxing more. It was taking stress off my plate because the stress, these are the things that were the root causes. Just going to other people and be like, fix me. I'm the one who put myself in this situation. So some mix of lifestyle changes would possibly get me out. At least give me the best fighting chance of making long-term changes. And then like working with people along the way as it makes sense when you find people that might have the insight to help you. but I don't necessarily just trust anyone because I feel like everyone has their own agenda. And I don't necessarily morally feel like aligned with getting on 9 different pharmaceutical medications when I was getting all these diagnoses at 21. And that's been all of my 20s has been fighting health conditions. Yet on the surface, people think I look so objectively good, and I have this IFBB Pro card. It's like, it's such a travesty. It's like, on one hand, I'm so honored that people look up to me, but I'm like, I have all of this stuff that I deal with, and I still haven't found a solution. And like, I can't tell you who to trust or who can help you. All I can say is what you can do for yourself. And that's what I advocate for. It's like, there's always hope. And you can get the best result with what you got.
And everyone's issues or conditions are going to be different slightly. There's going to be different actual issues, but then different causes for those issues. Some of it might have been underlying where it was just kind of there, but like at such a low level that you didn't notice it. And then maybe the extremeness of bodybuilding, of dieting, kind of like revealed it, of the stress, psychological stress and physical stress you put on your body, it exacerbated it. And this, again, it can be different for every person. It's going to be something different. So there is no like one size, okay, just start injecting thyroid hormone and like, pat you on the back and good luck to you. Like, that might work for someone. That might be the solution to their problems, but it very well might not be. And so to paint this with a broad brush is it's kind of it's just doing a disservice. It's obviously not the right answer. Otherwise, no one would have these issues.
I feel like doctors are there to like give you an answer to your symptoms, but they're not there to necessarily help you sort back into your brain and think about how did these systemic problems start as just like low-grade inflammation or low-grade system failure to just like complete dysregulation of a system. As like this wasn't just like one day that you underate carbs that your body got stressed. This was like months, years in the making. So you gotta do the work to figure out what the root cause is. And like, there's always a different root cause for thyroid issues. There's always a different root cause for mental health. Like, yes, part of these things could be genetic. Both my parents are on thyroid medication. So, I mean, like, there's definitely some predisposed genetic stuff there. But why do I have this full-blown autoimmune issue and I can't eat anything? And my parents are having the time of their lives. Like, they're on thyroid medication, but they're not also trying to fix it. They're just like, this is my life now. I'm too young to believe that. I don't want to believe that this is my label forever. I'm like, I can fix it. Like, let me like do the work. I'm like so willing to change my lifestyle to like get a different result. Bodybuilding taught me it's all about long-term goals. It's all about what you do every day, and food and training and sleep and rest and stress. These are all variables that are going to go into the science experiment of your life to get you the result in 5, 6 months or years.
Yeah. Agreed again. And I mean, I think that there's obviously a place for pharmaceutical medication. Like, of course there's a place for this in the world, but there's also a place for like the whole lifestyle diet, all the other stuff. And adding in pharmaceuticals is way easier than fixing all that other stuff. But kind of like for some things, both things need to be done. And I think the problem that a lot of people run into is they'll just start taking thyroid and then it improves their symptoms immediately. Yeah. And then they just stop there. It's like, oh, this is it. This is all I need to do. And it's like, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's fine. But it's like, you would be better off if you improved your diet, improved your sleep, improved your mental health, improved your training, improved all the lifestyle stuff, and then also added thyroid in after that. Then you could be like 100 healed or as close to it as you could conceivably, right? And that's where some of the problem is with like a pharmaceutical first approach is it makes people not fix some of the other issues because it does provide some immediate relief in some cases, not in all cases.
And that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I have been on and off thyroid medication, like, ever since I got these diagnoses. Like, part of me, like, immediately needed to control the symptoms. The symptoms were bad. My eyebrows are falling out. My skin is dry. My skin's breaking out. My eyelashes are falling out. My actual hair is falling out and thinning. And as a girl, like, these are your feminine features. That was the most devastating. I remember crying when, like, my gargantuan natural eyelashes were falling out. And I was like, that is part of me that, like, I identified with. And now it's gone. And it was because my thyroid was just pooping out on me. I was like, give me the medication now. So like that helped. And then like the hair regrowth, but like doing an hour of cardio and like eating all vegetables and bloating every day because I wanted to stay skinny didn't help my thyroid issue. So like I needed to eat more. So then I went on that journey, continued to supplement, but then eventually I was like, oh, my diet is so good. I'm being so responsible. Maybe I don't need the thyroid medication. So I went off, and then some of the symptoms came back. And then I was like, let's get some blood work done. How bad is it? And then like, if it was really bad, I'd get back on medication. If it was like, hey, it kind of improved from the last time, like, let's just stay off medication. So now I'm on T3 and T4 medication. And I have obviously really gone in with my lifestyle and my diet. So now my biggest goal is like, can I see normal blood work? What would it be like to have normal levels of thyroid? Would I feel amazing? Because I don't think I know anymore. So that's name goal number one is like, feel like a normal human being. And if that feels like feeling superhuman, do whatever I can to maintain that for as long as I possibly can.
Right. Of course. Let's talk about the mental health side of things then. What are some of the things that you do now on a regular basis to take care of your mental health? And I know that that's kind of like a big catch-all term, but like what are some of the things you do?
Spend time alone. Which I feel
that can be really scary for a lot of people, and probably the cause for some people as well, but go into it.
I feel like you can't just like trauma dump on your friends and your family about all of your overthinky thoughts. Like you're just dumping on people. You're making your problems their problems, and it sounds like word vomit. Like you need to be able to self-soothe. Like we are grown adults, but like we're also grown children. Like I'm a grown child. I'm 100% like still a baby. So like I know that like my house is like a tricked out kid's room, and I also have a kitchen in here. So I make my meals like a kid would. So I call them ugly meals for a hot body. I like my simple bodybuilder meals that aren't complicated, but they get me a good result. But it's also my responsibility to clean up the kitchen. Like this is my dojo. I got to be a responsible adult. But like, if you're having a bad day, if you're having overthinky thoughts, if you're just like, oh my God, I got to text this person, I have all these thoughts of negativity in my head. Like, let me go and like outside myself to solve my problems, like drinking, drugs, going to a friend's house. Like, I think to some extent, like going to your friends is exactly what you need to do. And then on other sides, like when it's the mental health stuff, like your biggest enemy is yourself, like always. So like the answer to your problems is also in yourself. And like sometimes hearing yourself talk to another human being helps you figure that out. But ultimately it was you the whole time. So if you can solve your problems in an instant, if you can talk to yourself in your own house, write something down, spend time quiet, like don't turn on the TV, don't turn on music, just listen to what's going on up there, ask yourself questions, like really become self-aware of like your own body and like, am I hungry? Am I stressed? Am I over? What is the root to my anxiety right now? Is it finance? Is it relationship? And then there's always an action you can take. You can figure out like, what is the next step that would solve this feeling? And you got to be alone to like have those talks. And like I call it, you can have talks with God, you can have talks with the universe, you can have talks with the aliens, like whatever you want to like address. I address like people that I've lost in my life, and I ask them like just open-ended in my own room as just like, I'm going through this, this, and this. And like, it just gives me somebody to address my thoughts and speak it out to. But I'm a yapper. So I like to just talk, and I live alone, so I can talk to myself and nobody's thinking I'm being weird. But like, if you want to send some voice notes to people, you're in your own house. You're still be able to be in your bathrobe. You're in your comfort zone. You can send voice notes to somebody and just be like, I am not okay, and I need somebody to know that I am not okay. And sometimes when they're like, hey, I'm sending you love and good vibes, I hope you're okay. Like, I think you're an amazing human being. They'll send anything nice. They don't necessarily need to have context about the specific overthinky thoughts. But just knowing that somebody knows that you're not okay and they're sending you good vibes is kind of like a virtual hug from a friend. And I think that that's ultimately why we reach out to people in the first place and then kind of trauma dump. Is like, we just need somebody to know that like we're a baby and we're crying and we now want somebody to hold us. It's like, you don't necessarily need to be held right now, and you don't necessarily want to just re-drag out the same issue that you've just experienced and just tell 9 different people. You just need to be quiet and self-soothe and let somebody know that you're not okay, and like maybe they should check on you, like if you're not doing okay, and then like maybe just having them know that you're not okay is enough. And I find that that's been enough. And I have had, 8 years of living with a serious mental health condition. And I find that my friendships are the things that hold me down the most. But sometimes my friendships are not necessarily what I need because I could make it toxic.
Mm.
And you don't want to be that friend that like drags down the vibe. But like you can lean on your friends when you need them, but you are ultimately your own best friend and your worst enemy. So being alone, like conquering that feeling of alone, I think is the greatest advice I could give anyone. And I feel really empowered being on my own. And I feel like the voices in my head, the good, the bad, the ugly, like the inner self-talk that I have, is really positive. And it's like a relationship with myself that I wouldn't trade for anything. And it's because I went through that terrible episode of mental health when I was 21 years old. And now I'm just like, I really believe in myself. So being alone is awesome.
Yeah. Ultimately, I mean, people, whatever the term we want to use here, like you got to deal with your own stuff. Like no one else can do it for you. People definitely can help you and whatever, but it's not the same as like, hey, can you help me move this couch? Like I just need another set of hands. Like no one can go in your brain and like fix stuff that's happening in your brain and be like, hey, be happy. Stop thinking about that. Like you can certainly rely on people, rely on resources, tools, whatever. But like ultimately you have to do the thing to like make it happen for yourself. One thing that's like very even like nutritionally related, and I'm sure you've experienced this to some degree, like with clients and stuff as well. And I know that I have, is people will be having a nutrition, what's the word here? Like a nutrition crisis where it's like, oh my God, I'm at a restaurant and I feel this and I don't know if I want to go over my calories. And I don't know if I should order the chocolate cake and Susie's ordering this. And like I've had those messages come in sometimes and they're like very long text messages and they're always on like a Friday or Saturday night. And then it's like, I don't answer it because I'm at dinner or I'm at whatever with my family. And then, I'll see it a couple hours later. And then it's almost always followed by another message that says, I just needed to get that out. I ended up having the cake or having the whatever, or not having it, and I feel fine. I just typing that out helped me out. And it's like, okay, that's exactly what it is that you're talking about. Sometimes you just need to get it off your chest, and that can be talking to yourself, writing it down on your own phone, sending a voice note, sending it to someone else, whatever it is. But you've got to, like, this will sound silly, but think about your own thoughts. It's almost training your intuition. We talk about intuitive eating as what you want to feel, but you may act on your intuition as well. But if your intuition is not in tune with what's actually happening, am I exhausted or am I actually hungry right now? Am I like really cranky and upset, or have I like not drank water in 8 hours? Like these kind of things that, and maybe that's a little bit extreme, but trying to actually think about your intuition, like what is actually happening? What am I actually feeling and why am I actually feeling this is going to go an extremely long way, but it's a skill like everything else.
Yeah. Like I always ask my clients, like, do you really want that chocolate cake or the tres leches or the cheesecake? Or do you really just want a dopamine hit? And like, if it's the dopamine hit, like ask yourself, did you have a bad day? Like, is this a once in a lifetime opportunity to eat cake? Is this going to make your problems better? Is this going to make you hate yourself later? If you ask yourself those questions and you're like, it's not going to make me hate myself later. This is a once in a lifetime piece of cake. I am feeling bad, but I also feel like I deserve it because I haven't had anything bad in the last 3 months. That cake is going to be a value add. Go get it. Like, but if you need somebody to like talk to about like weighing the pros and cons, that's why you have a coach. That's why they should be responding to you. Like, but not every coach is like super communicative. But I feel like that's what's really missing in the coaching industry is like the psychological element of like you just described somebody that goes out to eat and sends you a fat paragraph of anxiety. I have been there, but like sometimes like you don't necessarily have a coach that you feel comfortable saying those things to, so you don't even text them. And instead you text a friend who has no vetted interest in fitness or understands the body dysmorphia or what you're going through, and they're just like, go ahead, eat the cake, be your bad self. And you're like, okay. And then you tell your coach terrible later that you're like, I feel so guilty. I shouldn't have done that. I felt terrible. Um, and maybe they don't respond. So like having a coach that like will talk you through being on the edge of that cliff, and also like be a safe place to send a fat paragraph to, where you know that you're not going to be judged and somebody's going to like get it and they're going to give you some advice for like how to handle it next time. Like that's so important in coaching. And I feel like one of the big reasons you want to hire anyone is like, yes, the meal plan, yes, the training, but just the being a safe place to ask and say
Hmm.
anything related to your body, nutrition, health, training, just general insecurities. Like your coach is a lot of the time like going to be the person that's listening to you when you're going through relationship shit. And then they're going to be like, hey, I'm not following my plan because my girlfriend just broke up with me. It's like your coach is going to be the thing that's going to be help you be your backbone. Be like, we're going to stay in control. You are able to do these things with your nutrition and your training. And they're going to be like, I'm so grateful that I have this support system in my life right now. And it's just like, that's why we're here, man. Like we're part-time therapists a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That is far and away the most important part of being a coach. I mean,
Yes.
like anyone can come up with a meal plan and some macros and a training plan that's like good enough, especially with all the access to AI things now. Like you type in,
Yeah.
"Hey, ChatGPT, like write me a workout plan." Like it might not be perfect. I'm sure we could all for the most part do better. Not all. There's some bad trainers out there, but like you can make a better training plan than whatever ChatGPT will come up with for now. Uh, but like that's not really the biggest deal. Like whether we're doing 8 reps or 12 reps, like yeah, kind of matters. But for most people, like not that much. And but all the support, the personal part of it is the part that matters like infinitely more, and just getting that the insight, because to your example, like maybe the answer sometimes is like, yeah, hell yeah, go ahead and eat the cake. Like sometimes that is the answer, but sometimes it's not the answer, and like the coach's job is to figure out when that is.
Yeah. And sometimes the client deserves it, and they need to. I think everyone needs to have the mental flexibility to like be able to eat the cake
Hmm.
without having like negative self-talk and like extremes. Because I feel like I was the client that didn't eat the cheat meals. Like you would say, go eat a refeed meal, and I'd be like, can I just eat my regular meals, but just a little bit more instead? Because I want to make more progress. And maybe it would have been a good idea for me to just chill out, have
Right.
the dopamine hit. But at the same time, if I ate that meal, maybe I'd be more stressed out later because I'd think I'd be fat. And I was like in that overthinking mindset. So maybe it was better for me to eat on plan and just eat a little bit more rice, because if I ate the alternative, I would have been a freak. So like it really depends on the client. And I think the ultimate name of the game is like consistency, happiness, flexibility, meeting somebody where they're at. Like you never know where somebody is, and like I want them to be so self-aware and also know that I care. So I want them asking themselves questions so they can give me more information so we can decide together.
Hmm.
And always feeling like it's a safe place to be like, I'm having these symptoms. What do you think? Like, is that in my head, or should I pull back on training, or should I just suck it up? And it's like sometimes you need somebody to tell you that, or just
Right.
to weigh in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some of the ways then that you've changed your training since competing? Since competing, you still train. You're still like in super good shape. There's a difference between like being in amazing shape and being in stage shape, obviously. What are some of the ways that you've changed your training?
I feel like I'm like the it's like this was a sports analogy. Like I'm like on the bench, just like waving at everyone else. Just like I'm just gonna do what I want to do. I'm here to have fun. Like you can throw me in the game if you want. But everyone always asks me, what am I training for? You train really intense. Hey, I saw you training. You're a beast. And I love that. I'm good at gym, but like I don't like bodybuilding.
Hmm.
So it's like, what drives you in the gym? For me, it's doing things with better form, feeling it better in my body, doing the same thing more correct, and just like skill and technique, and like getting around all the injuries that I have from playing soccer. I'm like, can I do this with good form? Also, in a way that doesn't make my knee click or make my hip hurt, and like looks correct on training film, and I can send to my coach and he's like, yeah, that doesn't look terrible. We can do better though. Like I feel like there's always ways to do better. Um, but for me, like I am militant on doing my programming. I love my own programming. But I feel like I go through eras. Like in the beginning, I was really into like calisthenics and like burning calories and just like body weight movements. How strong can I be?
Hmm.
And then when I started bodybuilding, it was just like all of the basic fundamentals, just some, and then some weird supersets and stuff that coaches threw in for more volume. 5 sets of 20 of hamstring curls, like lying down, and then followed with 5 sets of 20 of seated hamstring curls, like
Jeez.
random stuff that like I just didn't enjoy, but because I needed to bring up lacking areas, like that was what was necessary. Now I have taken the reins when it comes to what are my lacking areas and how hard am I willing to go. So for me, I really base it around what are the fundamental movement patterns that I need to accomplish in this workout? Am I doing some unilateral work as well? Am I hitting the muscles that I'm intentionally trying to grow or don't mind growing? And then am I avoiding the muscles that I don't at any cost want to grow? Because I will grow them. Not everyone has that kind of body type. I
Hmm.
do. So that's why another reason why steroids aren't a good idea. Like I can get far enough with my own hard work and I like it that way. It just takes longer. But I don't really know if I even fit my division anymore, but I'm having too much fun doing what I like to do. So I do like squats, deadlifts, lunges, hip thrusts, like all the main ones, and then like pulls and rows, pull downs, single arm rows, dumbbell rows, like all the basics, and then shoulders. I really only do lats, shoulders, and glutes because I'm trying to avoid quads. I still do all the compound movements for legs, so I'm hitting some quad, I'm hitting some hamstring, but I don't do a lot of isolation work except for glutes. Same goes for my shoulders. Like on my biceps and my triceps get hit because I hit back super hard and I hit
Hmm.
shoulders super hard, but I don't need to train biceps, triceps exclusively for my goals, so I don't. And I've been doing shoulders, lats, glutes for like 5, 7 years on repeat, and it built me exactly the goal. But it just took a really long time to bring up those lacking areas. And now I'm really strong at all of those really basic lifts that work. So I don't do a lot of the like, oh, this is a cool variation or da, da, da. It's like I'm just hitting the basics.
Yeah, that is the evolution. I feel like I'm parroting, other podcasts, mostly Chris Williamson's podcast. But have you heard of the midwit meme? What this is?
No.
The midwit meme is like like a natural distribution, like a standard deviation kind of thing. And on the left is like the beginner, or like the dumb guy, and the dumb guy just says like hit the basics. And then the guy in the middle says like, I want to try all these variations and this thing and this rep range and this superset and like over engineering everything. And then the guy all the way on the right is like the master or the expert. It says like just do the basics. It's like
Yes,
everyone goes through
exactly.
this journey in your training, right? When you start, you get in the gym like, okay, I want to do push-ups, I want to do squats, I want to do some sit-ups, I want to do some chin-ups. Like you want to do these things when you get in the gym. You start going, it's like, oh, what if I did it like a one arm on a weird angle, cross body, sitting on a Bosu ball, inverted? And it's like, okay, yeah, that was cool. And then eventually, like, I'll just like do a barbell row. I think that that solves the problem here, and then that's the evolution of training. But like, it's always, I mean, we always come back to this, but I think it's always important to know that people who have elite physiques like do the basic things, and there is not some secret. The secret is that they've just been doing it longer. They do it with maybe a little bit more proficiency, a little bit more intensity, and certainly a
That's
lot more
it.
consistency and more time. And that's what gets you an elite physique. It's not some secret exercise that you don't know about yet.
Bingo, right there. Like when I see like really complicated workouts or I see some like a fundamental that could be improved, I'm like, that's an area that like that's like low hanging fruit that you could take advantage of. Like just do the most basic thing that you understand, but better. Do it with more
Mm.
weight, get more inches on that range of motion, add some pauses. At the hardest part, the most gnarly part of that rep, I want you to hold it for like a second and then complete the rep. If you can do that, then you can go up. But you don't always need to just like go up every time, like, because that's not gonna happen. There's so many intensifiers midway before you go
Hmm.
up in weight, and then you do all those intensifiers again, and you go up. It's like journey is endless, and if you want that elite physique, the elite physiques are the people that are obsessed. We are so passionate about it. So like you're never gonna be able to hold a flame if you don't have that same like inner drive where you're just obsessed. This is like so fun. All the details. It's like if I can get one more inch on my squat where I'm like so crispy at my like hip extension angle and my knee flexion angle, oh my God, I'm just like, oh, that was spicy. And it could be like 5 pounds, it could be 200 pounds. I don't care. The squat was really good. So it's like, meet yourself where you're at. Like, you don't have to be strong every day, but just be proficient in the exercises that you select. And that's also the thing. It's like people go into the gym and they're so self-conscious about what they're doing or what other people are thinking about them. And I'm like, just focus on how well you're training. That's going to get you the most respect. That's what's going to make people come up and want to talk to you because you're training well. We're all in the gym to train and do literally the same exercises. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, if you're trying to grow your chest, you're probably doing some sort of bench press. If you're growing your shoulders, you're doing a lateral raise and an overhead press. So like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's an equalizer. Like, you can go up and talk to anybody and it's like, we're all here doing the same thing. So just focus on the training part and people will be like, respect. And if you need help, you need a spot, people are going to be like, I respect the hard work. Absolutely. I'd love to help you. So it's like a great place to make friends. And like, everybody's in there working hard. It's great.
How do you evaluate when it's time to pull back on your training? Because all those things you just said, amazing, right? Trying to intensify, make your training a little bit more proficient, better range of motion, better form. Love all that. Of course, more people should be doing that. And I think more people are on the side of like, you need to train harder and better than like, oh, you need to like rest days. Like you probably have too many rest days. But there is a time and place for that. So how do you evaluate like, I need to take a day off, skip a day, do a deload week? How do you evaluate that for yourself?
I love extremes. And if I am going to train that hard, I probably only need like 4 days of training like that. 3 days. Like when I started doing my gut protocol, I had to take my intensity way down, and my days of the week down. So I went from training like maybe 5 or 6 days a week because I love it, to 3 days because I had to, and I couldn't train any more than that, but I could train less. And sometimes, like after going down to 3 days, I realized I could keep my results pretty good. I don't need to go to failure all the time, but I didn't enjoy the lifts as much. I find I'm the happiest when I can give my all to my workouts, but I'm never in a rush to crush 5 or 6 in a week. If I have 3 or 4 heavy as hell lifts, or like high volume days where it was just really hard and my heart rate was like bumping the whole time, and pick your hard, choose your own adventure. Like if I had 3 or 4 days a week that were really good, I love to take a full rest day. Like, I mean, I'll still do cardio because for me, cardio is just getting up and walking in the morning. So that's more of a healthy habit than I really perceive as cardio. And it sets me up, kind of wakes me up in the morning. And I like do social media on my phone. I'm like texting people because I'm on the treadmill, I'm watching TV. It's like, it's anything. And then I go to work. So sometimes I like to do my cardio and then do no exercise, no like lift. Sometimes like yesterday, I took a full rest day. I didn't do cardio, didn't lift, and I didn't think twice about it, and I didn't plan it. I don't plan my rest days. I don't plan the days that I'm going to lift. I mean, for the most part, I wake up and I'm like, how do I feel? Did I get good sleep? Do I feel energized? Is it going to be a lifting day? If it is, great. I'm going to grab my stuff. I'm going to hope it is. But if I wake up and I'm like, man, I slept 4 hours, I feel like I'm about to get my period or my gut's really fucked up and I'm just like not feeling good. Maybe I'll just take a chill pill and I'll be able to perform better the next day at 100% versus at like 40% and getting the workout in. And I'm super glad that you just got the workout in. I'm like, I don't want like a half-assed workout. I want a really great workout. That's my level of success. So I like to have 4 for 4 successful workouts rather than 4 out of 6 successful workouts. Like
Yeah.
I would rather have better odds.
Makes a ton of sense. I mean, it's in some ways it might be doing like more, I don't want to say damage, like, going to the gym is not damaging, but it could be if you're like completely exhausted, completely fried, you're stressed from work, you haven't slept, you haven't been eating properly, and you like go to the gym because like it's Wednesday. On Wednesday we do legs. Like, well, okay, maybe you can just skip that day. You can just like take a nap or just walk or just do stretch or something or not lift, and then lift on Thursday. And that workout will be more effective because you'll be actually better rested and in a better position to perform well in that workout session. And your body actually does need the rest, need the nutrition, need the sleep, need the de-stress thing, whatever that is for you. You want to go sit in the sauna, you know, whatever it is, whatever you need. And again, it kind of comes back to this like thinking about how you feel, intuition, if you will, right? It's like, hey, how do I actually feel? How do I actually feel? I'm able to perform today? How do I feel my gut is operating? And what do I need to do to make that better? Or do we have like, you know, all green lights and we can just like get after it?
Yeah, I love that you brought up the gut because, like, sometimes I'll wake up and my gut is super messed up. And I'm like, okay, exercise could either help me or I'm going to really hate the entire time I'm working out because I feel so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So then it comes down to, well, would sitting make it better or would high intensity exercise make it better? We don't need to go to either extreme. You could go for a walk outside.
Correct.
You could go in the sauna, like change your environment, do something to get you sweating. Like always be very intentional with what you're doing based on the variables. I love talking about variables and experiments, but like if I wake up and I feel tired and my gut is all messed up, what do I think actions that I could take that day would make me better and healed tomorrow so I can go back to high intensity Alex that I love? But if I just tried to be her, I wouldn't be her and I'd be disappointed. And then the next day would also suck. And then the next day would also suck. And I would never get out of the hole that I'm in. So that's why I think the rest is really important. If you feel like you're in the hole, which is like you wake up, it's 7 a.m., you got to go to work, and you're like, I feel like I barely slept at all and I am going to be dragging ass all day. Probably not a good idea to just go and aim for a PR in your leg day. It's probably not going to happen. So like if you're like, oh, I got a PR today, and then you don't, and you go way below that, now you're sad. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're not feeling good about yourself. Now you have negative self-talk. Like, why did you set yourself up for failure? You knew you were going to go into that workout and it was going to suck. So why did you do it? Why don't you just take a nap? Why don't you nail your food so you just completely throw the day out, and then get more sleep? So then your inflammation is gone the next day. And if you're not exercising, you don't need to eat as much. So maybe the digestive deburdening will help you lose some inflammation too. Or the opposite is true. Maybe you feed yourself a little bit more because it's your rest day and you've been like underfed for a long time. And then you wake up and you have so much energy the next day because it was exactly what you needed. Like that rest, eating more food, these are all variables that are going to play a part in your performance the next day. So if performance is like the number one thing for you, then think about your rest days going into that. Like, I just want to keep getting better. I want to grow muscles. And the more that you resting is when they're growing. So, like, I want to keep coming back into the gym and, like, grow a little bit more rather than, like, break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down, heal, break it down, break it down. Like, that's the people that train 5 to 6 days a week. 4 to 3 Cloud. We know something.
Agreed. This is why having like the long-term mindset is also so important. And that's such a a catch-all phrase, like think long-term, whatever. But what it means is that missing one workout or sacrificing your sleep, the way you feel, whatever, for one workout, like doesn't really matter that much. But if I can like postpone today's workout and that's going to make the next 5 workouts better, like that matters way more than like, hey, I got to the gym today because I said so. The other thing that is missed with this is like, you can go to the gym and exercise every day, but it doesn't have to be the hardest workout every single day. Like exercising can just be a walk outside. Like that's okay. I think people should exercise almost every day. There's definitely a time and a place to sit on the couch and do nothing. But that can't be like, that is far fewer than I think people give themselves. Like you don't need to do that 3 days a week. Like, maybe once every, couple of weeks is fine, but walking outside is just, to your point, it's not even cardio. It's just normal, healthy behavior. It's just like moving your body a little bit. It's barely exercise, right? It's exercise in the technical definition of the term, but it's not like strenuous or anything like that. It's just moving your body and feeling good. So you can definitely exercise every day. You don't need to train your butt off every single day. That is probably unnecessary for almost everyone, including like elite professional bodybuilders.
And I think if you're like a dopamine hacker like me, like I get dopamine hits from having a really hard, intense workout with PRs. I'm using all the heaviest weight ever and my body performs the way that I want. That's a dopamine hit because I feel successful. But I cannot expect myself to do that every day. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit 10,000 steps. That's my goal. If I hit it, I get a dopamine reward. So because I'm just like having different expectations for myself based on the day, you can still use exercise to get that dopamine, but just have a different goal. So if you're like, all right, I'm going to make it a rest day, but I'm going to say at minimum, I'm going to get 7,000 steps. Like that's something. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I have to get 10,000 steps today. I have to take 3 intentional walks outside in my subdivision, like, and just walk around the block to get the steps. It's like, we could just set a lower goal, or you could go to the gym and walk for a shorter period of time, get it over with. Like there's ways to get that checkbox satisfaction. I love to make lists and check things off. So dopamine.
I'm with you on that. And I think everyone does. And like write it down, check it off your list, like check things off your to-do list, keeping a high percentage on your say-do ratio. Like if you said you were going to do something, do it. That will make you feel good, and that will go a long way. And it can be as small as I said I was going to make my bed, and it can be as big as I said I was going to hit a PR in today's squat workout. Like anything in between that. If you said you were going to do it, but commit to doing that thing, and you will feel better. And sometimes it's small things that need to be done, and sometimes it's big things, but all the things need to be done.
I bring that back around to mental health. You know, say you got somebody that's going to the gym and they're depressed. It's like, if you went to the gym, that's a huge win. Sometimes it's not fair to say, all right, if I need to clean my house, and if I don't clean my house, I'm going to be mad at myself, and it's a lost day. But if you're like, I need to clean my house, step 1, make bed, step 2, dishwasher, step 3, laundry, step 4, sweep. If you got a few of those things down, you can check individually parts off. So like if rest days are super hard because you can't sit still, you're like, okay, I'm going to get 7,000 steps, check. If that's too easy, bump it up to 10,000, make it a little bit out of reach, and then find other things that would make that day super rewarding for you. And then that'll bring you more joy.
Very good. Agreed with all of that. Alexa, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today? We covered like a lot of ground, and I think, things kept coming full circle, and good mix of the, coming back to digestion and mental health and resting and but training hard at the same time. And so I think we kind of covered all of it, but is there anything like that we missed?
No, I think we had a great chat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's cut it off there then. I mean, I think we could keep going in this in an endless rabbit hole. Where can people find you? Where can they get in touch? And the sign that Alexa was trying to point to there for just audio, it says Alex in Wonderland. Is that what it says? Alex?
Yes.
In
Alex
Wonderland.
in Wonderland.
Covered a little bit. Yeah. Alex in Wonderland. It's a great one. And we discussed before this, Alexa's going to start a podcast at some point in the not too distant future.
Yes.
I think she would be great. So make sure you guys are following her for that whenever that will come out. But where can people get in touch with you and keep up and reach out for training and all that stuff?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm Alexa Berg Fit. So it's like my first and last name, Fit, F-I-T. And you can research more about what I do on alexabergfit.com.
Awesome. I'll put that in the show notes to make it easy for everyone to find. Alexa, is there any last words you want to leave the people with here in closing?
Hard work beats smart. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I think that's my favorite quote from sports growing up. So I love to work hard, and you can do anything. Don't give up.
Love it. Very good. Alexa Berg, everybody follow her at Alexa Berg Fit online and her website. That's that. This was awesome. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the episode with friends who need to hear this and spread the good word. Go outside. Be a good person. See you next time.